We got it.
Oh, no. Hey, welcome to episode 182 of Front Seat Gamer. I'm Nick. I'm here with Blake.
Hey, Nick.
And Paul.
Hi.
Hi, guys. How's it going?
Hey, good.
Welcome back, Paul.
Yeah.
We missed you. It was nice having Fabian on.
It was pretty good.
Actually,
Yeah,
you know what?
2 episodes with them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're dismissed, Paul.
Okay. See you guys later.
Come, please stay.
It would have been amazing if he faded in there.
That would be, man.
Dear. Well, lately we've been kicking us off with some questions. Should we do that?
Sure.
All right. This is from Aidensichi9327. He says, Nick, hitting the nail on the head with the carrot and stick analogy. This is in regards to, we talked about Helldivers controversy in the last episode.
The Sony.
Precisely.
Did
Did you listen to the last podcast?
Why would he do
Too
that?
busy.
He's on it.
Too busy.
Nah, I've not listened to an episode, not the ones I'm on.
All right. People are like that.
Listen,
I
guys,
don't want to hear myself.
I'm the same.
Or the absence of myself.
I've
Yeah.
gotten so used to the sound of my voice. Sometimes I only listen to my parts.
Blake has his own podcast. It's just called Front. And okay, but basically we were saying that like Sony kind of took entirely the wrong approach. They went with blackmail, where you sign up to our service or you don't get to play the product you paid for.
Yep.
When I was basically saying, which that's the stick, and I said I should have used the carrot, which is sign up to our service and you get a bonus,
Yeah.
Free skin.
free skin,
Yeah.
cape, whatever it is, right?
I mean, it's like a no-brainer, right? Like,
Because it was meant to launch with it, though, right?
Yeah, it
and
was.
then due to like technical issues, they couldn't.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
they
Doesn't
had to
matter.
roll it back.
They still
Nah,
should
it
have.
doesn't.
but they still continued
The way they
selling it
framed
in countries that they couldn't have launched in then
Yep.
because they were they don't
Well,
have the
We're gonna
PlayStation.
get to that.
Oh yeah.
Aiden said, can't wait for you to read this in 2 weeks and to find out how wrong I am, but I assume that Sony will change this policy. They're a business. Their goal is to make money. Selling the game in 177 additional countries will make more money. This isn't rocket science. People in the Balkans have money too. I just can't imagine a PSN account is more valuable to Sony than access to 177 countries of people. I'd love to hear more about how the AAA scene is in free fall. You all work in the games industry. Where do you see this all ending? So, first of all, has Sony changed the
I think they rolled it back really quickly, didn't they?
They
I
rolled back
haven't
the
actually followed
requirements.
up on it, but I at least saw like the headlines about them
Yes.
going back on it.
But what's up with the PSN thing? Because I've also seen Ghost of Tsushima being refunded because elements of that game will not work unless you have a PSN account. And there are 177 odd countries that don't have PSN
I've
access.
mostly missed that.
Yeah.
I think. Man, this is guessing again. I saw maybe
Here
a
we
tweet
go.
once.
Now we're podcasting. Now this is podcasting. That's a Star Wars reference, guys.
Yep. I swear I saw a tweet that they were basically saying that they've done the same thing to Ghost of Tsushima, and the feeling I got with it is that because that game is not as popular, they just went ahead with it.
Yeah.
Where Helldivers, everyone raged about it.
But the thing is, Ghost of Tsushima wasn't that popular
but it's not
because
that
it wasn't on
popular 'cause it's
PC. And now it's on PC.
old. Oh yeah.
And it's getting review bombed
Yeah.
for the exact same reason.
I mean, look, man, maybe they got to learn the lesson multiple times, you know.
It seems,
Or maybe they'll
it
just
seems-
keep banging their head against this wall until players just bend over and take it.
What do they gain by having?
Locking people into their PlayStation network. That's it.
But they're not
It's-
locked into
they're
it.
not locking
It's just
anyone
an
out, not really.
additional
It's
thing to
just-
sign into.
Yeah, which is
Ah,
just
they-
it's another
It's data harvesting,
conversion
right?
thing. Right?
Yeah.
Where it's like we've increased the number of users on our platform
Right.
by X.
I mean, they clearly
Which
like
is a good thing to track and a good like
yeah,
metric for how your business is doing.
but
I guess you could. There's some way they could feed the fact that you're on their network into you buying more games,
Yeah.
right? It'll be like you're already. We can feed you news, right?
Yeah.
We know there's another Final Fantasy 7 re-florp, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, we're doing another one, and we can pipe that news directly to you. That's an advantage.
I don't know if that's as much as important though, because so many people will just get the first one and just unsubscribe, right? So you only get like one go.
But like if you have to side into a portal, you can put whatever you want on there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like another browser, you launch it, you know, the classic, and another thing pops up, and look at all these games you can get.
Yep.
Oh, here's a deal. Here's a thing. You know, it's just another. They clearly value people, getting people into that ecosystem, but it is strange that it seems like
They're
the comment
keep
says
shooting themselves in the foot by doing it. It's really funny.
It's like they value it more than all the money they make in the regions that don't have it. It's very weird.
Yeah. So let's move on to the next part of that question, which is like what's happening in the games industry, which is there's lots of layoffs, lots of studio closures. Here we go guessing. Let's guess away.
Here we go guessing. My thing is, I honestly am so inward focused on Path of Exile that I don't really pay too much attention to what other studios are doing. Like, Activision Blizzard had a massive layoff thing, but all like ages back,
lots and lots and lots of studios have that.
That always sounds to me like corporate book balancing.
Yep.
We had a thing 10 years ago in New Zealand where a company, Gameloft, opened up. And the studio the studio here was doing fine, doing great. And then, but because of corporate whatever, they needed to balance some sheets, and they shut down a load of studios across multiple countries.
Are you an accountant? Because you sound exactly like an accountant.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I do moonlight. I am Henry.
For sole traders?
Yeah,
that's a joke. Literally, only like a handful of people in New Zealand will get. So don't
Shout
bother.
out.
Don't bother googling. I've used Henry. It's fine.
Yeah, I know. You were the one that told me about it, and then I started seeing ads for it.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. But yeah, then they went and just they shut down a load of studios across the world in a bunch of smaller countries.
Yeah.
To fix up whatever corporate mistakes they'd made.
So I think in this particular round, there's a few factors. And Paul, Blake, feel free to jump in.
Sure.
And tell me when I start to getting into full-on guest territory. But
we're already there, man.
First of all, what happened for like 4 years ago?
COVID.
Yeah, that's right. And what were people doing during COVID?
Playing video games.
That's right. And what else could they do?
Get free money.
Yep, and
also nothing.
And what else? Yeah, exactly.
Nothing, yeah.
Exactly.
That was
so they were getting free money.
There was
they
a
couldn't
boom,
go out,
for sure.
And all the main source of entertainment was like streaming TV and video games.
Yep.
So suddenly, a lot of studios started getting a lot more profit than normal, and execs go, "Great, let's really invest in this. We can dominate the market. We're getting so much money right now. We can be the biggest developer in the world. Let's throw a bunch of money into lots of projects, and it's money for days. We're never gonna die. This is incredible. We're immortal."
Have you seen the news? Pandemic's never gonna end.
And then COVID ends.
Yeah.
People go back to work. There's more disposable income, but less time. But there's lots more game projects. So there starts being the cuts having to get made for the realities of like the actual market as opposed to what they thought, whatever the heck they thought they were doing.
Yep.
So that's one aspect of it. Another aspect of it is when, for whatever reason, when Silicon Valley starts cutting jobs, lots and lots of other companies start cutting jobs as well. I think it is, yes. It's like a competitive thing, or like a maybe it's a tribal thing, or I'm not really sure what it is, but it's like there's some weird thing where when Facebook starts cutting jobs, Apple starts cutting jobs, Google starts cutting jobs.
A fairly like simple answer for that is that if you do it just after someone else did, you're not going to look anywhere near as bad as if you were the first one to do it and do it out of nowhere.
And it's no longer, oh, look at this mean company
firing all those people.
Ending all these livelihoods. It's, oh, now the market's in a downturn, even though they may be still making record profits.
Yep.
And that's the ultimate thing is if they think they can squeeze out more money because they are a publicly traded company, they are required to.
Yeah. Well, there's also too, like, especially after the mergers, there are going to be some redundant positions, right?
Yeah.
That
Yes,
do
that's
need
true.
to be tidied up.
So in a merger case, you don't need 2 HR departments. You don't need 2 accounting departments.
Yeah.
You don't need. There's lots of things that you end up with redundancies, and those are like legitimate cases of, well, there's no reason for us to keep paying these people for nothing, right? That position no longer, like, we really don't need 2 of this thing.
Yeah.
So that is a very legitimate case. So mergers, that's one thing. Then you also have like things like Embracer Group. This is basically, like, I think it was a venture capital firm that just bought billions of dollars worth of game studios, threw lots of money at lots of different projects, and a lot of them are failing. They're deciding this is too risky. Let's pull our money out.
Yeah.
So you're getting a lot of Embracer Group studios in particular are getting closed or sold. And when a company is sold, the company that's buying it will make the assessment of whether or not they feel that company is being run. Often just a big kind of dick-swinging power move is just to lay off a bunch of people.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting.
So there's lots of different aspects that are going into this.
And I think just all of them realistically play in, rather than being able to be like, we can point at this one thing and say. But like, if you add all those things together,
it looks bad.
It looks bad.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Not in a good way.
No.
But just like logically, you can see how those pieces fall.
What you're talking about with COVID, that totally makes sense, because the opposite was happening, where during COVID times there was a lot of companies, that weren't making so much money, so they downsized.
Yes.
Then when things got back to normal, suddenly they couldn't keep up with the
hiring.
And they stalled out. Because of it.
Because like inflation was increasing as well, so like you needed to pay more to hire people. Lots of competition.
Yeah. Yep. Lots of factors going into this. So that the question really is, where do you see this all ending? And I think the answer, for me at least, is I don't see it ending. It's just part of a cycle. This was, I think, a weird anomaly in that it was a natural part of the gross business cycle, compounded by COVID.
Yeah. And there just being so much money in tech now that it's like it's affecting a larger percentage of people than it would have before.
Gaming is a huge industry compared to where it was 10 or 20 years ago. And even then it was big. Like, I remember when, it was like 20 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, like one of the biggest headlines was games make more money than movies.
Yeah.
Right? That was a huge deal.
Yeah.
And now it's like, games make way more money than movies. So yeah, it's a much bigger industry. So there's just going to be a higher volume of people working, therefore a higher volume of people being laid off when there are weird market cycles like this.
Yep. Yeah, that sounds right to me.
So that's my guess.
Yeah.
I
mean, that's a pretty good guess. I think that's better than my guess of, I don't know, vague corporate machinations.
There's a guy at a desk and he's rubbing his fingers together going,
he's got big sacks with dollar signs behind him.
That one.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next question. This is from Robert Wolf. He says, great as always, and some questions. Will you check out the Stellar Blade demo or even the upcoming game? That's question 1. Question 2 is, how is the Cyberpunk 2077 journey going? And question number 3 is, Blake, why? Cardboard tables? Really? Well, update. We still have a cardboard table.
Yeah, we still have
Blake has bought a coffee table, which he has not built. My assumption is he's going to move the box with the coffee table in it into here, and we will use the box with the coffee table in it as the coffee table.
Which still counts as a new coffee table.
Yeah, technically.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the way you're spilling water all over it, that box is now protection for my new coffee table.
yeah. That soggy cardboard is going to be a great shield. Stellar Blade. Stellar Blade. The thing is, Stellaris has ruined the word stellar for me forever.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's not Stellaris, it's Stellaris, right? So it's Stellar Blade.
Yeah.
All right. You guys heard of it?
I don't know anything about that game other than the memes.
I don't know anything about the memes. I did see that there was a funny patch they had to do.
Oh, yeah?
It was
There was something about dressing the character or something.
maybe there was an environmental coincidence.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. There's like a place in the. I'm pretty sure this is the right game. There's a shop, an item shop
Okay.
called the R shop. It's called the R shop because I think the person who runs it, their name starts with R.
Okay.
And that's where you go and you get like your weapons or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Also in that game is graffiti,
Yeah.
and graffiti is like random, just random words or whatever, like tags.
Mm.
And one of them was the word hard. And there was a screenshot posted by IGN of the word hard next to R shop. So it just said hard R shop.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So they had to patch that out. I know about that.
Yeah.
That's the extent of my knowledge of Stellar Blade.
The only things I saw were like videos I didn't even watch. They were about how the main protagonist is a girl, and there was supposed to be more nudity or less or something.
Okay.
Promised. So like I ended up just ignoring the entire game because I was like, this is a thing that there's this thing about. So
yeah. I'll pass.
I've mostly seen people reacting to the way the main character slides down ladders.
Okay.
Which sounds in a
That's it.
similar vein as what I'm thinking.
What I'm
It's
hearing
such a
is
styly way of doing it, and
is-
it's so
is-
like
Okay.
gamers
so
need
over
to
the
touch
top.
grass. All right, let's move on to the second question, which I think is we actually will have some better answers for.
I hope that's not a fantastic game that we've just all just
It probably
written off
is.
because
Like
of like
it was,
one
it was,
headline.
it was big. Like it was constantly coming up on my like,
I did see it on
YouTubes
feeds,
and,
yeah.
and feeds and stuff like that. But at the same time, it was like a lot of like, oh, look at this character's butt, like
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Something about games where the like protagonist is cartoonishly like, let's put it like anime. Like you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like let's say exaggerated gender
Yeah,
stereotypes.
like Mario, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, Mario.
giant mustache.
Mario swinging around his big old mustache.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I feel weird about those kinds of games.
Yeah, no,
'cause, like I feel like let the game live and die on its gameplay.
I get you.
I just feel like if that's what I'm seeing about the game,
Maybe that's not.
it's not going to sell the game to
Yeah,
me. And if that's its main selling point, it's
Exactly. I don't need a wife.
Not a good place to
I have a
start.
wife.
yeah.
It's like I know what you mean because it's like it's a game. Maybe the game is amazing. Maybe it's awesome, and we're just seeing this. But it feels to me like one of those games you would be embarrassed if somebody walked in and saw you playing it. Like if I played it here, I would have to close all
Close
these
the
curtains,
curtains.
make sure no one
no,
was
don't come in.
motion
It's
out.
art. It's art. Games are art.
She's just sliding down. That's just how she slides down
I
the
can't
ladder.
make her slide down the ladder another way.
Yeah.
All right. So question 2 is, how is Cyberpunk 2077 journey going? I'm really enjoying it. I think
Yeah.
it's a really good game. And I'm really glad I waited 4 years to play it. It's gorgeous. It's really fun. I think there are weak systems in that game, and I think this is almost like a trademark of, like a negative trademark, unfortunately, of CD Projekt Red. They don't do systems well.
Yeah, because now you've played Witcher.
That checks out,
You see a comparison.
Yes. Well, they make odd choices about their numbers. Like the numbers that you can boost sometimes are comically small. Like, oh, you can do 0.1% more damage for each attribute point, and the attributes cap at 20, so you can do up to 2% more damage. Whoa, I'm not gonna notice that at all. Cool, and I have to cap out my stats for that.
Yeah.
Awesome, that's really good. That's a good bonus. But they do that all over the place.
I did notice that in some of their like perks and like cybernetic stuff is just like, it's like this increase for this amount of things you have somewhere else, but then there's a cap to it.
Yeah.
So
and even if it's but even when there's not a cap, even if it's just like a random stat on an item, it's either really low value or so niche and also really low value.
Yeah.
That it just doesn't. It's hard to make a build outside of the the points that you're given.
Yeah, it is.
Like gear and whatnot
Yeah.
just seems
The
basically
gear,
inconsequential.
The gear basically just supports the build you're doing via the points. Like there's no like, oh, I found this one weapon and now I can build like have an entire build around it. It's more like I'm looking at the trees. I'm thinking about how I the skill trees. I mean, and like I'm thinking about how I want to play.
Yeah.
And then I'm figuring out where am I going to put my points, and then I will get gear that and mods, cybernetic mods that like support that.
But also, I don't have to. Like the gear and cybernetic mods make so little difference.
Do they though?
Yeah.
Or some of the,
Okay. I take it back. There are some.
There's
some
like
things that
two.
enable or disable things.
There's a couple like major ones.
Yeah.
So there's one that I've got that slows down time.
Yep.
That you slot that into what is it, the operating system or something.
Sure.
But that is also there's only one slot for that, and that means it uses up you can't hack anything.
Right.
So there's like an actual like
Yes,
give and
that's true.
take here.
That's true.
Like,
But that's not a stat. When I think about that, that's not a thing.
Okay, that's-
on
yeah.
the gear. That's the gear. If that makes
right.
sense.
Yeah, you're thinking of what percentage?
That's
yeah,
the
okay.
difference
In that
between
case, I
that's
agree.
the difference between wielding a blade and a gun.
Yeah,
to me, right. What I'm talking about is like I find like the upgrades on those things. Like this one lets me have a 1% chance to crit, or I do 1% more damage. Like I don't care about either of those.
So the upgrades like they weren't in that's a new thing for Phantom Liberty, I think, because I played this game like twice before. This is the third time I've played,
Okay.
and there was no like just straight upgrading your tier level.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure you just
Really?
had to buy.
That feels like a lie.
I feel like you did.
I don't
It
remember
was
that
doing
was
that.
whole engineering
combining
profession.
accessory thing.
If they did, they have changed the way you access it then.
Okay.
Okay.
Because
Maybe.
here
we go. Guess it.
But anyway, guessing. But anyway, I agree with you about the upgrades because there are upgrades. Like you go, you see that I can upgrade this piece of gear. It shows you side by side.
You can spend 400 pieces of equipment, and you get 0.2% more RAM speed.
Here's the thing: is that I look at them and I'm like, these look exactly the same, and I have to do a like
Line by
side by
line.
side,
Spot by
line by
difference.
line.
Difference.
Yeah,
one out of the
difference.
4 stats is
Yeah.
0.2% higher.
And then sometimes it's not even any of the stats. It's like the armor on it,
Yeah.
which is like at the top. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it's the armor. So, okay.
Yeah, so there's like the this is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Like some of their systems are so there's a lot going on, and yet none of it matters. Does that make sense?
I think it matters. Like,
But it doesn't.
it does to a point though. Like we are talking about, like percentages like 0.5%, and then you of something, and then you upgrade it, and it's like 0.7, and you're like, okay, wow. But then there are things that there's gear that has like actual like ability changing things.
Yeah,
right.
but
Where it's like every time you kill someone, you get like this much stamina back, or you get this much speed, and like that actually does
But
affect gameplay.
that's part. Yes, but that's not part of the systems, right? Or I mean, that is part of. I guess it's all. What I'm saying is, they have a system here.
Yeah.
You have your items.
Yeah.
And those items can be upgraded.
Yeah.
That's the system, right?
Right.
The system is the items can be upgraded.
Okay.
And the upgrades don't mean
and the
anything.
upgrades are nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. Because
it's equivalent to saying like I said, it's different if I use a sword than a gun.
yeah.
Like there are drawbacks.
Or if you have a gun with more damage versus another gun.
Yeah.
Or the type of grenade I'm using. Like
Yeah,
those are all choices that matter and have an impact, and like I can kind of make a build. But if the gun says, great, if you spend 500 whatever dollary dues, whatever, then you do 0.5% more damage.
Yeah.
I'm like, literally for the only way that's going to matter is if the dude I have to kill takes 200 shots.
Yeah.
It'll only take 199.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the difference. Like,
There I had a sudden realization with when I was playing, right?
Yeah.
Because I was holding off on upgrading cybernetics.
yeah,
Because
cybernetics is so strong.
because I was like I I was like, I don't know how many upgrade things I'm going to get.
Yeah.
You know, is it that thing of like you upgrade your first item and then you end up getting rid of it?
Yeah.
But at a certain point, I realized there's so much upgrade resources.
Yeah.
I'm just going to upgrade everything.
Yeah,
because
almost
it's just
everything at
I just have
Legendary now.
endless amounts of like upgrading resources.
Yeah.
So
Everything becomes components.
Yeah.
And then all those components can be cubed up, basically.
yeah. I haven't even engaged in the crafting system.
It's bad.
I used
This is
to.
another bad system.
Okay, I used to do it in the previous games. I did it, but it was for crafting ammo. And in this game, I've literally never bought ammo.
Yeah, you never need to.
Like I used to
have
run out of bullets.
I've
before.
had 1,000 bullets on every gun forever.
See, this is a change I think they made because like when I last played,
Yeah.
I would run out of bullets.
Okay.
Like it was pretty
Interesting.
common, and I always had to like make sure, if I've got enough bullets. But like, I'm not running out of bullets anymore. But I am also playing a blade build, so
Okay.
I barely use guns anyway. So every ammo crate I pick up, I'm just like using.
I use whatever weapon.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh
as-
yeah.
I
you're
usually-
you're a hacker, right?
I'm a hacker.
Yeah.
And I went hacker and body. And body, I literally have almost capped out body, and I have not gotten a single actual perk in that tree. I did it only so I can open doors.
Oh really? Yeah.
I love opening doors.
That is what I'm starting to go down now because I went into the reflex tree is
Yeah.
the blade one, and I went into that all the way. But it meant I wasn't putting points in like body or like what was it called, tech or anything like that. So I came into a thing where it's like I basically couldn't like hack a computer. I couldn't like turn off a camera. I couldn't like open the amount of like the amount of
Reflexes doesn't seem that involved in like the role playing.
No, it doesn't. It's literally just for blades and slowing down time and being cool. That's that's kind of it.
Which is another maybe an issue with their systems, in that not everything is weighted equally, and you don't know that until you're too deep in.
Like for the world itself, it's usually
Like strength,
and hacking,
and like technical ability.
Yeah,
Those are kind of
yeah.
three I see quite a lot.
and so if you have not been doing like you could go the super stealth one in the cool
Stealth in that
tree.
game is weird, by the way. It doesn't feel good. I don't like the stealth.
It's
part of that.
it's better than it used to be.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but I agree because my very first playthrough I played pure stealth and I hated it. I had a miserable time, completely miserable, and I was like, this game sucks.
Yeah.
And then the last time I played, I went with the blade build and it was cool. And then this time I'm playing again with the blades and it's like really cool.
I like shotguns. I like hacking. I like making people's heads explode.
Yeah.
Like that's fun.
It is interesting that because I've gone, like I was saying, I've gone with this blade build and I can have that slow down time mod. I lose the ability to hack anything. And you do feel that. Like that is a real like disadvantage.
Yeah.
Like just like cameras, especially, right? The ability to just hack a camera and then like turn it off or then like see through it and ping everyone.
Yeah.
I basically have to work around that.
I forgot you could even ping guys. I literally here's my combat. And look, I'm really enjoying Cyberpunk. But as a hacker, I go contagion, 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 and then I hide around a corner and I watch their like looking for me bar slowly fill up and then stop.
You're a real
Because they die.
What are they? Net runners? You're a real net runner. You're just off in some
absolutely.
safe little bunker somewhere.
My entire gameplay was looking through the cameras, trying to ping everyone, then running around with like a desert eagle, trying to
Oh man.
headshot people.
I got a revolver that has it's like a legendary, like one of those iconic things.
Yeah.
And it has exploding bullets, but
Oh,
it's a single
nice.
shot.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
so
what I was playing
it
with.
And the dudes are just turning into limbs. Like
Yeah.
that's so good.
But let me get to the sort of crux here. Cyberpunk 77 is a very good game, and their world building is phenomenal. The city is so dense with stuff. I have been through the same area multiple times, and then I'll be like, oh wait, I can like hop up here and I can get up this building.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a dead body here.
There was
there's like a Matrix reference.
Oh,
Have you
neat.
done that one?
No.
There's like some random spot. You hop up there, and Keanu Reeves shows up, or I guess Johnny.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Johnny
Yeah,
Silverhand
yeah.
shows up and goes, "What the hell?" or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Whoa.
and then like you read the body, and it's like his name is Mr. Anderton,
Oh.
and he's talking to Morpheo or something
Yeah.
like that about having to get out of the office building and like crawl across the
Yeah.
the window,
Oh, that's good.
just like in the Matrix, except I guess in this case
He
he
didn't
fell
make
and splattered. And, like, what a cool little thing.
That is cool.
Yeah,
And
that is cool.
the game is filled with this stuff. It's really neat.
It does.
Does it still have all the doors that look like they should go into places that don't go
Yes,
anywhere?
that is annoying. There's no way to tell if you can enter a door unless you walk up to it and the prompt comes up.
Yeah.
And it's just like this really weird thing of it felt like they'd cut out half the content. This was back when I played it when it originally launched. And you'd be going through like these containers and then like a bunch of them would be open and then there's another one that like looked exactly the same.
Yeah.
But you just can't go in there.
Yeah.
And then there's one random one that you can open.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's weird. The map is helpful to some degree on that front, like the little mini map.
Yeah.
You can see like when there's buildings with rooms.
Yeah.
But also some of them are locked behind quests. Oh, hey, thanks, Blake.
Sun was in Nick's eye. So
Oh, it was
I just saw you squinting. Your basically eyes were closed.
How can you tell? A lot of there are some doors that look like they can be opened and you can scan them and it feels like you should be able to open them and you can't open them and it's because it's like tied to some random quest somewhere else. And
Yeah, I have had that. Like
there was a Delmain headquarters, for example.
Right.
In fact, there's still bugs in this game. Lots and lots of bugs.
Yeah.
It's still like I have had cars fall on.
Wow,
the sky.
that Delamain one is about chasing down all the bugs, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm halfway through that quest. But like you can walk up to the door of the Delmain headquarters before you get the quest.
Yeah.
And have a conversation with Delmain.
Yeah.
If you get too close, because it's just not done very well.
Right.
Right.
But you can't get in there until you get the quest that lets you actually do the quest. Yeah. Anyway.
There was one thing I came up to when I was playing that along the lines of like things that look like you should be able to open or get into. I had to like infiltrate this like the back rooms of this like gang hideout, and it was like a club, so it had like a public front, but then there was like a back rooms thing that if you went in there and you were spotted, it would be like a hostile thing. So I tried to find a way to like sneak around and in back like get into it from like basically going outside and around, and I found a location that like was like in a storage room and then like through another door and then you went out onto this like massive high-rise like balcony thing. And I was like, oh, here we go. I must have found it. And I'm going along and there was just like, the only thing I could find was like windows that you could open that led back into the VIP section that like I had already come from.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it was just like this weird loop. And it felt like this ledge was leading somewhere and then it just didn't.
I think I know. Is it spoilers? Is it like there's like a what are they called? Dolls?
Yeah, it was that one.
Yes, I
Yeah.
know exactly the one you're talking
Yeah.
about. I think that whole thing is about trying to get like a card or some sort of
You got to get info from the guy in charge.
Yes.
And he's in his office.
He's in the
this.
VIP area, but
Yeah.
you can like sneak around and like ambush someone to get their ID
Yeah.
card or whatever to get in there.
yeah.
And I think that was more about what.
Oh, there's, I mean, once
Because that
you're
was quite heavily tied to a whole story section.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's part of the main quest. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it just it did feel like, oh, I found a secret area, but then
It wasn't. It was just a story thing from
yeah.
later.
Yeah.
There are some weird things like that. You can go back to. I stumbled into the area at the very start of the game. Like one of the first jobs you do is like
Yeah.
scavengers, and you pull a body out of the bathtub.
Oh yeah.
It's like the intro of the
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
And then like you go outside and
Yeah.
and the trauma team comes and picks up the body. You can go back there.
Oh really?
Yeah, I
I've
found
not
it.
found my way back
Uh-huh.
there.
I
That's
found
amazing.
it. I went all the way up there. I was like, oh, there's gonna be something cool in
Nothing
here.
there?
Nah,
Yeah.
nothing there.
Because
You already looted that room on your way through.
Yeah.
the game
Because
does
you know you did.
the game does teach you though that it does reward you for finding places.
Yeah.
You know, like you go get up somewhere high and oh, there's some good loot here, or
Yep.
there's like a little funny story thing.
Yep.
So it's like it's completely expected to if you find your way back to that
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
There would
It would
be
be-
there
that
would
was
be
my
something
thinking.
cool there.
Like I went out even on the
Yeah.
balcony where the trauma team thing happened.
nothing.
Nothing.
It just feels like that content's used.
Yep.
Why?
But why not just block it off?
Yeah, why not
Right?
just block it off?
Yeah, it was
Or
a
just
bit
put
weird.
something little there.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
either put something there or block it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they kind of didn't do either. So
Strange.
But that said, boy, that's a beautiful game. It is dense. The cities feel like alive.
They've gone way better. Like when I first played, the city felt very static. It felt very like facade.
Yeah.
You know, like it didn't really feel alive. It felt like there were just canned things happening. And I mean, it's a game, so there is some canned things happening.
Yep.
But there are like gang fights that break out
Yep.
that I swear
Yep.
didn't happen
I saw a
before.
drive-by
Yeah.
happen, and then I tried to intervene, and then the cops got very angry with me.
Yeah, no, I don't know why the cops are getting angry. You know, you're helping out
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that is illegal though.
to help out the cops.
To help out if there's a drive-by
just-
happening.
Just help out
I
with the
don't think you
drive-by.
can just start shooting them.
I think in this city,
But my gun explodes, so it's fine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe it would be here too if you had one that did.
Yeah.
But I don't think so.
Really good, solid game.
it's
there-
great. I'm really really loving it. I'm not even at the Phantom Liberty stuff yet.
Neither. I haven't bought the expansion either.
Oh right.
But I'm considering it
Yeah.
because I have had a really good time.
Is the Metro system in?
Yep.
Okay.
I think I used it once and then
Yeah,
didn't save.
so. This is an interest. The Metro system is interesting, right?
Okay.
Because it's
Totally
commute. It's commute simulator.
It's odd, right? Because you have fast travel,
Yeah,
and this is like slow travel.
it literally is commute simulator. Like you go to this location and a map comes up with the routes. You
Yeah.
have to figure out where you want to go
Yeah.
and where the route is.
Yeah, and then you sit on the train,
and then you
listen to people
literally sit
talking.
on the train. And yeah, the
There is
passengers
something that is
will like.
oddly charming about that.
I like it.
You can look
but
out
it's
the
just
window.
Odd.
Looking out the window is pretty neat.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, how many times do I need to do? How many times would it take for me to get bored with this? And I did it twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's quite a
I
lot
bet
of
there's
work.
some
with putting
people that do it a lot for the like role playing side of it though.
I mean, it is cool. Well, the game, like, I swear this is different too because there's a section in the game where you lose your car, right? Your car gets smashed.
Oh yeah, that's the domain one.
Yeah, that's the start of that one.
Yeah.
And when I first played, I swear I never had a problem with like, I always had a car. Like I swear I always had a car. And I never used the fast travel system before.
Yeah.
But in this, I was like, oh, I don't have a car. And I do feel bad about stealing cars. Except for when they're parked, I'll steal a parked car. But I don't want to flag someone down and
I've
steal.
ripped people out of cars.
I don't want to rip people out of cars.
I do not play that game with a moral compass.
But it's interesting. I also don't fast travel much.
Yeah, I never
in
fast
fact,
travel.
I barely drive. I've only used the cars a few times
Yeah.
when I really need to travel a long distance. Otherwise, I'm like if it's like even if it's like 2 kilometers
Yeah.
on the game map, like their
Yeah.
UI or whatever is saying it's 2 kilometers away, I'll just like run around, hop around because part of the fun of that game, most of the fun of that
Yeah.
game, is walking through the city and seeing what comes up. And
Mo-
like, I've wandered into a place where there's organized crime activity. I get to blow up some heads.
That's interesting. So you just run everywhere.
Yeah, because it's super fun.
That's cool.
And like the city has multiple layers to it.
Yeah, it does.
Like you can be above the streets, you can be below the streets, you can be in weird tunnels. Like it's
There's a lot
cool.
of verticality to it, which is
Yeah.
great. A lot.
It's also a bit sad because I haven't found anything that changes my mobility around the city. Like I can't. It's not like I can jetpack up. Right?
No, I mean there's
climb.
the dash. I use dash a lot
Yeah, sure.
and double jump.
Double jump.
Yeah, I got double jump. It's a leg mod.
Oh, I didn't know double jump. was
There's a
thing.
couple of leg mods. Like there's a double jump and there's a like extra high jump that you hold
Oh,
the
wow,
jump down
okay.
and boost
Dang.
up. Yeah, but that's what I've been using for like
That's awesome.
slow down time, double jump around the place,
Oh,
like
man.
dash. Yeah, I
That
got
sounds
air
like a really
dash
fun
and
time.
stuff. I'm just hooning around the place. It's so
Yeah.
cool. I use motorbikes on my main transport. Like they are so good. Also, because the cars are just like horrendous to handle. I think
Yes, the driving doesn't feel great.
I've downloaded a mod to help it, but it still is just like, man, the car driving is. It was a problem even from the beginning.
Still,
Yeah.
solid game. It's that's how that journey's going.
It's good. It's really good. I was actually looking at my previous save games,
Yeah.
right? Because I started playing when it came out, and then I played it a couple years ago again. I noticed I stopped playing it every time around the 50-hour mark.
Interesting. I'm about the 50-hour mark, I'd say, and I'm starting to feel a little bit of the slow down. But I did spend easily 30 hours not doing anything other than running between spaces, looking at stuff.
I went through a thing. So this time I've been playing it like if someone calls me and is like, "I need you right now," I will drop what I'm doing and do it.
Yeah.
So it feels more natural than like I need you right now, and then you don't get to it for like 5 hours down the track.
Yeah, you're like, hang on, I need to clear this section of map of all the little icons on it.
So I actually didn't like. There's a couple main storylines that you start off with.
Yep.
I basically went all the way down the Pan Am one and like and all that before I even got to like the clouds, the doll one.
Huh.
Oh, okay.
Because
I did
every step of the way, Pan Am was like, "I need you right now." Oh my god, this is happening, and I'm like, "All right."
I only just started the Pan Am one.
Yeah.
Or maybe I just finished it. But it was like I did the dolls one. I did a bunch of other stuff, and then I was like, oh, I had this request to go talk to Pan Am, whoever that is, for a long time.
Well, that's also the thing. There's so much.
There's a lot of quests.
There's so much things, and there's so many names that you can easily forget. Like, who was this person I spoke to? Like, 5 days ago, and I don't remember. But they do have they do have a codex of like characters and stuff, so you can like look through it.
There's another thing I just want to mention that I'm not overly fond of, and it's kind of the polar opposite of The Witcher.
Yeah,
and that is the gear progression. So in The Witcher, you can get recipes for like level 25 gear almost immediately.
Right.
And you can't necessarily build it or use it, but it's something to work towards, and like it's exciting when you get it. Whereas in this, your progression is pretty hard tied to your level, where it's like but in a weird sort of sneaky way, you just don't get materials, or you don't get weapons of a certain tier until you hit a certain level, and then it's like all of the things that drop at that level are.
I've noticed that as well. I'm getting like all purples and a few like oranges, and I'm like, oh, what a.
You must be hitting like level 40 or something.
I'm not. I'm all reds, not oranges. I don't know how many colors there are.
I think it goes green, blue, purple, orange.
Yeah, I get the odd orange one, right? But they're not as uncommon as they used to be.
Yeah. Now I'm consistently getting oranges in almost every fight.
Yeah.
So it's just the higher your level, the higher the chance of higher level gear dropping.
Yeah. I don't. Also talking about gear.
And it kind of is meaningless as well.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the time it's just components, and you're like, okay, cool. I was expecting like a cool orange gun, you know, or something, but no, it's just like tier whatever components.
Yeah. I do remember also getting annoyed at those unique weapons, the ones the iconic, I think they were.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I needed to collect them all.
Yeah.
And
then
most of the time they were just like not useful at all or anything.
Yeah. Here's the thing, you can upgrade them. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Because they are useful if they're upgraded. Like they are essentially like a version of the base weapon with a bonus attribute, and whether or not that's better than significantly better than the base thing.
Yeah, maybe it was just that I wasn't upgrading them then.
You know what I don't
I remember having them all in the boot of my car. Or just being like, okay, I've got this. I got to keep them.
4 knives, and I don't use any of them.
Yeah.
You have the weapon stash at your home.
That's true.
And it has but this is part of that. Like, I feel like I've got to collect them.
Isn't there limited space in that or something?
I don't know.
I just remember needing to store stuff in the car and in that place.
You were a hoarder.
I am a hoarder of video games. Yeah.
Your boot is just chock full of stuff.
Hey,
so
let's go to grocery run. Can we use your car? I got a lot of knives in my car.
Real heavy in the back.
Boy, a lot of swords. Is that explosive?
What if I need to use one of those level 1 knives at some point in the future?
Right. That named level 1 knife.
Yeah.
I wish that they did more with the actual gear as well, like the armor, helmets. You get these really sort of simple stats on just a few pieces.
That whole thing, like the clothes and armor, that has been completely revamped because back when I first played, it was basically standard standard armor of an RPG where everything had like armor or a stat or like
Oh, really?
something, you know.
Yeah.
So my character went through lots of different like
Yeah.
outfits because like I'd get a new tactical vest or something. I would get that.
Sounds better.
And that's
And early on, where you're like at one point running around in like a hazmat suit just because it was an upgrade.
Yeah. But like that is completely gone. Where the
like-
clothes are just cosmetic, and there are a couple things.
This is the
that
problem.
have,
Is it's not
armor.
they're not just cosmetic. Sometimes you get a vest that has 20 armor on it.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get a helmet that's
But
like
you can wear
13%
that-
less melee damage.
Because they have the outfit system, which is basically
Yes.
just a cosmetic skin, right? So
that's-
you pick
that's
your
so
cosmetic
neat.
skin.
So then why do they have these random stats on random items and then like, oh yeah, you can wear whatever, but sometimes they have stats.
Like I've basically not.
It's annoying.
I've had some bulletproof vest on.
Yeah.
The entire game,
Yeah.
and other than that, I have just had like the same outfit. You know, the
Yeah.
same cosmetic outfit.
Yeah.
Of just cool gear that I found, and
I
that's
have
it.
specifically disabled the cosmetic thing
Oh,
because
really?
I want to look like what I'm wearing. That is much funnier. To
Half
me.
I was
Yeah.
wearing like no shoes for like most of the time, like, but it's like this cosmetic just makes me look cool as the whole time.
I'm in a big onesie with a bulletproof vest on and
Yeah.
like a riot cop helmet on.
I fully agree that is like how you should play.
Yeah.
I think that wardrobe thing was added. I guessing again, but added after it released because I do remember playing it the second time I played, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't there the first time.
I like the feature.
Yeah,
I just don't.
I think
use
people
it and will never
complained.
use it.
I think the problem was people complained because I want my character to look cool, but
I don't want
I've
that
also
at
got the problem with stats where I look like a rainbow freak, like just like
Here's the thing: if you walk around Night City, everyone looks like a
I
rainbow
know
freak.
though.
You blend in by looking like an absolute
it was
rainbow
fun
freak.
where I went through like sparkly parachute pants and like crazy like hats and stuff, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, yeah, these are
Just
like the
running
best
around
stats.
with a motorbike helmet on just because.
Yes, yeah.
And
And then you'll go and do like a mission where you get like actual like Militech gear or something like that, and you're like, yeah, now I look, I got my
Yeah.
bulletproof vest
Yeah.
and I got like a cool helmet and stuff.
but now it's
But now it's just you just,
just a
supersede
few
it with the
pieces
skin.
that actually matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to a clothes store in game to try to
Yeah, me too.
to find. So far, I haven't found anything that looks cool, or I can't tell where the appropriate clothes store is because the one I went to was very high fashion. I'm like, okay, I want this one.
like a suit or whatever.
Yeah, they were like business stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want this. I want like cool. I want to look like the Matrix.
I stole the spoilers for anybody who hasn't played Cyberpunk, but like right at the start of the game, you
Yeah.
go into this guy's house, and then he kills his dad.
Oh wait,
know what I'm talking about?
what was your start? 'Cause there's
Street
different-
Kid.
Right.
Kid.
Yeah.
Is it really that different?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm
That's
Nomad.
cool.
They're all completely different.
That's pretty.
I'm playing Nomad, and you start out in the Badlands.
That explains why you had Pan Am quests for so long.
No, I didn't meet her there. You meet Pan Am in the middle of the game. I didn't meet Pan Am at the start.
Anyway,
You're just out in the bad. This is where like for Nomad, I guess they always end up the same, but like the Nomad one, you start in some like little town,
Yeah.
and some sheriff is like, "What are you doing here?" Like blah blah
Okay.
blah, and you gotta do a thing, activate a tower, and then you meet Jackie, and then you smuggle like a thing into the
Gotcha.
city,
what do you smuggle into the city?
an iguana.
Interesting. And then what? So, well, hang on. No, there's. I think you must end up at the same point where the guy kills his dad. Very important guy kills his very important dad with a very important shard.
Oh yes. Oh, you say at the start of the game. Yeah. Okay, is that the start of the game? That's like hours in. That's a couple hours.
That's a few hours in, but still before the title screen shows up.
Yeah, that's true. That is funny.
So yeah, start of the
Yeah,
game.
no, you're right. Yeah. For some reason in my head, I was like thinking
You know what I'm talking
something
about, Paul?
else.
I can't remember that bit.
Yeah.
The-
I mean, the whole inciting incident, basically.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's the thing that causes Johnny Silverhand to show up. Paul is thinking.
I am thinking.
You go. It's a big job. You're doing it for a lady. Lady is like a brain. You do a brain dance, and she's like, I've been sleeping with this guy. He's the son of a very very important man, and they've got some crazy piece of tech, and I want you to steal it.
Yep.
And you go in there, and you're stealing the tech, and then his dad flies in. It's just coincidence. And then the son has some real daddy issues, and they all play out in front of you. And I stole that man's shirt, and that's what I've been wearing.
I didn't even think to like loot him like that.
I was like, this is a cool thing to be able to.
I stole his gun because he had a gun in his bedside table. I took that.
Took his gun. He also had a special knife.
Oh,
yeah, like a really good knife.
Nice.
I think it bounces off walls or something. I don't remember. Anyway,
like a throwing
game.
knife?
Huh?
Like a throwing knife.
I think so. Look,
I've not used the throwing
this was
knife.
like a bazillion hours ago.
Yeah, I know, right?
Great
Game. I really like it. Eh?
Yeah, it's really good.
I think it has.
I wish they were better with systems. That's all.
Yeah, but I think they have earned their because they started off real rocky.
Yes.
They have had a bit of a redemption, and it's definitely earned.
Absolutely. I really hope that they their quests are second to none. I would say their world
great.
building.
They
The
are
world
good.
building is second to none.
Like even their it's like in The Witcher, right, where the side quests are even interesting.
Yes, side quests are really fun.
Yeah. Have you found any influences?
What?
There are some real world influences that have characters in the game.
Gross.
There's one. So
I don't think I have. I don't know.
do you know the preacher on? He's an influencer.
What? The preacher?
Yeah. Well, I say influencer. He's just a streamer, not an influencer.
What are you talking about? What is happening?
Okay, there's a guy. I think his name's Gary the Preacher or something, and he's raving about how the companies are like looking through your eyes and stuff like that.
Yeah. He's an influencer.
Yeah. He's just a
Or
streamer.
is he just voiced by it?
He's modeled after him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Jesse Cox is in the game. You know Jesse Cox?
No.
Okay. He's a big. He was big in World of Warcraft.
Okay.
Cool. Have you picked up the guy who has a malfunctioning penis mod?
Yes.
That's Jesse Cox.
That's pretty funny.
And that's his voice. That's his model. Like they modeled it after him.
Yeah, they modeled his penis after him.
Yeah. There's others as well. Like I feel like I don't know. There's a heck of a lot of streamers in it, but I don't recognize them all. But I swear I can tell because they sound like a real person,
right?
In a way that
is grating.
Yeah.
This isn't a professional voice actor. I can tell.
Yeah.
Yes. I remember playing a game. It might have been The Witcher.
Yeah.
Co-Carnage streamer.
Yeah.
Showed up, and it was very obvious.
It
might not have been.
He's the preacher.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay. But Co-Carnage is the preacher.
Yeah.
I thought you said someone else is the preacher.
What? Just no. I was.
You said a streamer.
Okay. Well, cool. But I find that it can be
That's
very
weird. Where did he show up in Witcher?
Maybe it wasn't The Witcher, but it was something. It was something, and I said,
yeah.
That's Co-Carnage, and I pointed at it.
Yeah.
And it's like, that was.
The funny thing is,
this is odd.
I found out about that because I was watching him and he was streaming it, and he's like, "Oh, let's find my character." And I was like, "What? He's got a character in the game?" And then he walked up to that raving preacher guy, and I was like, "Oh my god, that is him!" But like, because he's doing this like yelly like
that
conspiracy and like conspiracy theory voice. It's
right.
It like I didn't.
Oh, he sounds like a crazy person. He doesn't know what he's saying. Yeah, that works.
Whereas like Jesse Cox just sounds like Jesse Cox, and I swear there's like a New Zealand girl in that has your car.
Huh?
So
I remember there being a Kiwi accent.
Yeah,
I was like, that's weird.
I swear, I think I swear that's a streamer. I haven't looked it up, but I'm just like, clearly that's got to be a streamer.
Hey, CD Projekt Red.
Streamers.
CD Projekt Red. We have over 10 listeners. You should hit us up. We will do Broken Penis Guy. We will do shouting at a wall man. We will do wets himself in a library. That'll be Blake. What? You don't think you could do that?
I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
I'll give it a shot.
Hit us up, CD Projekt Red.
Yeah.
We're open for business.
Yeah. What would your thing be, Paul?
I don't know, but now I think that Nick should actually just be at the radio voice, one of the radio stations.
Hey, welcome to Night City. This is Zany Jim.
Good morning, Zoo.
Zany Jim and Chad.
Ow, ow, ow. And the bulldog.
Let me get the whip. Woo! I'm about to have a second child. I am about to be twice a parent.
You're losing it.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just sad for my kids, really. All right. Slippery Jim asks, it took 12 attempts at making a town in Manor Lords before I finally had one well built enough to withstand a cascading failure. Partly to me discovering that you can buy more than one oxen. Anyway, just as I felt like I knew what I was doing, the totally chill neighbor guy came over and burnt it all down.
Yep.
And then Monglin says, I've been playing Manor Lords for 5 hours according to Steam. It is visually impressive, runs quite well on lower end systems. But after those 5 hours, I asked myself a question. What was the selling point of this game? When it comes to game mechanics, most of the stuff is missing. Just like you said, at this point, I'd say I already saw everything there is in the game. The fact that even the existing systems are far from being somewhat balanced is another thing. In general, it might turn out to be a decent game in those 4 to 5 years, but as of now, I'd say they went into early access like a year too early. And a question. I tend to play a lot of early access games myself. Very often I play them for a bit early on. Decide they look promising, but I should most likely wait for the full release. And then never get back to them, even though I quite like the first impression. Do you have the same? So, let's talk.
I do have that problem of...
Yeah, I have that too.
Yeah.
For example...
Yeah, so do I.
Manor Lords, the other medieval lords village management simulator. One of
Army management simulator.
Kind of world.
Oh, he's got a castle, right?
A bunch of stuff going on.
I never did any of that. I don't think that was properly implemented when I last played the castle stuff.
Yeah, it totally was.
Yeah.
It was great when I played it, but it was an early access. The story wasn't finished.
Yeah.
It was like half voice acting. It's launched. They've done a bunch of updates. I haven't played it since.
I think it is that because the core was there.
Yeah.
That
and I had a really
got
good time
all
as
you
well.
wanted out of it, you know?
Yeah. I might have. That's also a very time-consuming game.
It's a big game, yeah.
Yeah. But have you been playing Manor Lords still?
I played a bunch more Manor Lords after the last podcast. I played like 60 hours now. And I have actually probably gotten...
That's more than you've worked... No, that's not true. You've worked a lot.
It's deceiving because I have a bad habit of like leaving games on title screen and going to make dinner and then like sitting on the couch and then I go to bed and I'm like, oh, Manor Lords is still running. So
I did that a lot with Bellatrix because you could just play around and then, like, go make dinner.
So it'll be like... They got 100 hours in this game, but actually I probably played like 20. The same thing happened, it's completely sidetracked, but the same thing happened with Control. Like a mate of mine started playing the game Control, and he messaged me and he's like, have you finished that, right? And I was like, nah, I'm not finished it. And he's like, you got 70 hours in that game. That game is like a 30-hour game. Like, what have you been doing? I'm like, oh, I probably just left it running too many times. But yeah, I played a lot of Manor Lords, and I have pretty much gotten to that point that I feel the same, where I feel like I have experienced everything there is to experience, and now, like, it's like I'm excited for like what it potential is, but I'm not really like motivated to keep up to date with their every time they have a patch. Oh, I'll play the new thing. It's like I want to wait. Probably a few years, and then play a whole bunch of new stuff that they've added.
Here, let me ask you a question. Do you think that early access is healthy for a game? Because the pattern often seems to be launch a game with a lot of promise. It can be in a pretty good state when you launch it, but it's not final. It's missing a lot of features. People feel like, this is fun. I can't wait to see what happens next. And then it takes like 4 years for it to be finished. And at that point, they have no steam for actual like full released sales.
I think it works really well for games that are like roguelikes or something similar, where it's a lot about replayability anyway, because you're not
Like
really
Hades.
losing anything.
Hades is a good example.
Hades is what I was thinking of, because I played a tiny amount of Hades 2.
Yeah.
But it was when I had COVID and like I just couldn't concentrate enough to actually make any real progress. I beat like one boss and I was like, I gotta just go lie down.
Yeah. What
I did play was like amazing though.
Yeah.
But like when their game fully releases, I will play it again.
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate, I guess, had a good early access thing where they only had that first act early access the entire time.
I think they had the second act as well at some point.
Did they?
I think the third act never got early access.
Okay. But they had like the point is that it was limited.
Was it Coke Carnage in Baldur's Gate? I think that's what it was.
Where was he in Baldur's Gate?
Oh, jeez. I think he might have been in the city.
Oh, okay. I'll laugh if he's like a raving like priest on the street again.
It's his thing. That's all he does.
That's funny. It's for this game, like it's tough because it was one developer for a long time, and he's hired a few more people. But now I saw just last week a big post where he's hiring for a lot of positions. So this has definitely been a massive cash injection that he can now hire a lot more people than previously.
Well, I hope it speeds up development and quality.
There's, I think, like when Fabian was on, he read out the roadmap, right? I think feature creep is definitely a thing for them to watch out for because they were talking about like Navy battles where there's no water in the game whatsoever to begin with. So, like, that's a huge, like, with all this. I mean, we've seen it with Star Citizen, right? Massive influx of money.
Can't wait till that's out.
Yeah. Massive influx of money. They just keep adding more and more and more. And now we're doing this, now we're doing that. Oh, now we've got to redo this, and now we got like it just never ends because it's just
they
this
crossed like $1 billion?
Yeah,
something.
Yeah, they've been going for well over 10 years now.
Part of me, the paranoid, like conspiracy theorist part of my brain, which doesn't show up much.
Yeah.
Honestly thinks there's money laundering happening or something like that. like what is happening
That's
there?
something. I
watched a little bit of someone playing that, and it looked jank as hell.
Yeah.
After
I've
this
had as
long,
well.
Like people
it's still
teleporting
jank.
around
Yeah.
levels of jank.
Yeah. And you have to like pay money for a ship. Like it's pretty wild.
Like that promise of what the promise of what they were saying they would deliver, I just feel has worn so thin now.
$1 billion is crazy.
Yeah.
It is. It's a little bit like Tesla bros, who are like, they're so invested in the success of this product,
Right.
that they are blind to its flaws.
Yeah. But anyway, like back to like that is a worry to me when I hear that like massive roadmap and stuff on it that is just like completely not expected. I mean, maybe an expansion for sure. Like maybe that's a thing once the actual game is out. But if you get into that endless thing of like this is going to be an early access for forever because they just keep adding more and keep adding more, and it's like just release the game at some point.
And I think some games do. They're just like, okay, so early access is how our game is going to work, and we're just going to keep releasing updates. And
there's a company that they also came out with a new early access game right up my alley. Survival, village building, village management, very much like Medieval Dynasty.
Yeah.
And I looked into it. I was like, okay, I'm going to see what this is like, and people seem to be enjoying it. But I looked into it, and I found that this studio has a history of just early access abandonment.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay, maybe I'll hold off on this one.
This is real growth. Like, I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
Hey, let's. Can you email frenzyquestions@gmail.com and just with the title thing? Good job, Blake. Good job, Blake.
Thanks.
I just want to mention one early access game that I think has done a good job of that transition and continuing to update and monetize, and that is Vampire Survivors.
Oh, is it still early access?
No, they launched, but they continue to update, and they also made expansions.
Nice.
So you get lots of free updates, but you can also there's also like optional content to buy.
Like it's a proper game.
Yeah,
It's like a real game.
Yeah, and it was extremely cheap. It was like $2 or whatever.
Cool.
So, like the fact that,
I think even the expansion was like not much either.
it was like another $1 or $2 or something like that. So like they sold a lot of copies. They made the game they wanted to make. They're like, whoever's developing it is still coming up with things they want to put in there, but they're also saying, here's some stuff that I can continue to make money on. I think that is a reasonable model, and I think that that is what most early access should be. It is. We are 6 months away from launch anyway. We have all of our planned systems, and we are balancing. We are not iterating. We're not making big content drops or reworking things.
Yeah.
If you want to do that stuff post-launch, then whatever. Yeah. But launch with your core feature set, and then you can do expansions. I think that's great.
Yeah.
We
There
are.
are a
That is
lot.
another replayable game, though.
Hmm?
Like, that fits with the whole replayability thing.
Yes, I think you're
It's
quite
very
right.
much of a game about just
Randomness
starting
is very important for early access longevity.
over.
But that's also why I mentioned Baldur's Gate, because if the entire game had been in early access, I don't think it would have been anywhere near as popular.
Yep, that's right.
Like, because they held off basically. Like, I mean, that third act, right, is so dense, it's like half the game.
Yeah, it's pretty dense.
So it's like they held off half the game, and when it came out, people were like, "Yes, I cannot wait."
Yeah.
You know,
Admittedly, the third act suffers polish issues
right?
that like a wide player base of testers would probably have helped with.
Yeah.
But there
So you
would
gotta hold it
there
back.
would have been no hype around
Yeah,
its launch.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
That would have been a decision for sure, where they're like, you know, all that first act is so well polished.
Yeah.
Because that had the most people running through it for like a couple of years.
Yeah.
So they definitely would have had that decision of like, you know, do we put the whole thing into early access and have that level of polish throughout the whole thing, but then risk?
It was the right business decision.
I was.
It was not just people who bought the early access and then a trickle of people afterwards. It was an enormous hit for months
massive.
and months and months.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of amazing because a D&D game being that big of a a mainstream
a third
hit.
one in a series as well.
Yeah.
A series that is 20 years old.
Yeah, like those Baldur's Gate games were like they were big, but they weren't like what were they competing with at the time? Like they were definitely outshone by games of the time.
It's almost like putting out like a new Fallout game.
Yeah,
You know, how can you imagine that being a hit?
not anymore.
Ouch. Fair.
The funny thing is, I'm a little bit hyped for Fallout because, like, I've been seeing it around because of the TV show, and lots of people have been playing it again. And I'm like, you know what? That did have some fun stuff.
The
Can you go
TV
back
show
and-
was great.
I haven't watched it. Everyone says it's so good.
I haven't watched it either. Did watch Ted Lasso, so similar.
People say that's good.
No, I haven't seen that.
All right, well, we're pretty
I've
much
seen the movie Ted.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I've seen some TED Talks.
Okay, that's where they just
Ted
talk
talks
about.
in the movie as well.
They just talk about the movie Ted.
Yeah.
God, oh my God.
Usually that's got different backgrounds, so it's a unique spin.
And
You
here
know,
we
I
see
plant trees,
a
but
teddy bear.
also...
Ted talk about the movie Ted.
No, not a TED talk about it. It's just a talk about the movie Ted. That's why it's a TED talk.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would be a TED talk.
Oh my God, it's so good.
I'm glad
I
you're
love
the
it.
only person who would think so, Blake.
I love weird jokes like that. Just like these that's like Arrested Development has like that sort of thing where it's like layers of like
I love
meaning
Arrested
of,
Development so much.
of ridiculousness.
Yeah. You know what's sad? I realized this. Like I said this to my wife a week ago. Arrested Development is 20 years old.
Yeah, I know, right? It doesn't
That's
feel like it. It feels like
wild.
It's because I only discovered it maybe 10 years ago.
I still think about, maybe they'll do another season. No, that series is dead. All right, we're well out of time. If you have questions, email frenzyquestions@gmail.com. We didn't get to one of these questions, but we're getting so many questions and comments. It's awesome. Weirdly, this has basically only been a questions episode.
Yeah, that is
Which
funny.
is kind of fun.
It was fun.
Well, I
But
mean,
we also touched on the things we were going to talk about.
We were talking
except-
about, we have been playing Cyberpunk, and we talked
Yeah.
about Cyberpunk. But
Yeah.
just how it happens, one of the questions was,
Yes.
how is Cyberpunk?
Hey, guys, email me and ask me about Animal Well next time so that I can talk about it. Because I've been playing that too.
Yeah, we can only talk about games when
That
we're
you email
asked
us
directly about
Yes.
them. You got to guess what we're playing.
Which-
Only
It's like a
email it is,
vampire.
from Blake.
Yeah.
We're like vampires. You have to invite us in
Yeah,
to talk
yeah.
about specific games.
Every comment will be talk about No Man's Sky from Blake.
God, I hope not. All right, well, we might be back in a couple weeks. In all likelihood, some form of this will be back at some point in time.
Yep.
But I'm about to have a second baby, so we'll be. I might not be there. I might be there. It might be 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 week. Who knows?
We'll see. We'll just we'll work it out.
So just pile up those questions and comments, and at some point in a sleep-deprived state, I'll return and answer them. Otherwise, they're going to have Blake hosting for a while.
Yep. So, get ready for viewership drop.
Listen, just really enjoy the dead air, you know? All right, we'll be back at some point. Love you. Bye! I read a thing about clapping
Yeah.
yesterday.
You've been honing your clapping skills for the podcast.
It was about the history of clapping.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting.
That there is a history of
Yeah.
clapping.
Well, like wow, where did it
Must
come
have
from?
started
Why
at
did
some point.
I mean,
Yeah.
it seems like the most simplest. Like we were probably monkey people when we were
That's right.
clapping.
Yeah, and in fact, monkeys clap.
Yeah.
And there's like a whole bunch of reasons.
Oh
you
yeah, they
clap.
do. Yeah.
You can clap to like intimidate or to draw attention to something that is important.
Was it?
Don't
Was
they
it?
also sometimes just when they're excited, just
Um,
as like an excited thing?
Maybe I'm not. I mean, there's the clapping monkey. Oh, whoops, the clapping monkey toy. Is that what you're thinking?
Yes, actually.
Ding,
Are
ding,
they?
ding, ding.
Yeah.
Are there other monkeys than the toy?
I've not seen them. Not at the New Zealand Zoo.
Yeah, this is
Bunch of
starting to
clapping
sound
monkeys.
real made up.
I think on YouTube, it's all CGI, but
Yeah.
it's all AI.
No.
Mid Journey. But like it was.
No, it said like Weta or something on it.
The article it was on BBC. I read it last night because they were talking about how like the longest applause at the Cannes Film Festival, Cannes,
Yeah.
whatever,
Cans?
whatever.
Yeah.
It went for 22 minutes.
Whoa. What was it for? Who was it for? Gone with the Wind or something?
It wasn't anything that you'd expect.
Yeah.
It was something fine, but like they're basically the question was like why,
Yeah.
and how could you clap for 22 minutes and like what is happening?
And someone's just like, man.
And it is basically the assumption is it is like a social pressure thing.
Yeah.
Where like you're clapping and you're waiting for someone else to stop clapping.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you stop clapping.
Yeah.
But they're waiting for someone else to stop clapping so they can
No
stop
one did.
clapping, right?
Surely you'd just be like, okay, I'm
Yeah, so at some point you stop.
Yeah.
And then everyone else is around you still
But
clapping.
people didn't do that for 20 minutes.
And then you go, okay, well I guess I'll keep going. And 22
It's just-
minutes. And I think because it's at a big film premiere at a big event and there's cameras around, nobody wants to be the one who stops clapping.
Yeah.
Like if you're a celebrity
After
judge
10
or
minutes, you
whatever,
gotta be like,
right?
okay.
You don't want
Stop it.
you don't want a photo of like a whole audience applauding and then you're standing there going and that gets tweeted around and you're someone famous and then
Yeah.
suddenly that's your whole thing. Right?
Yeah.
That sucks. So that's
That seems that seems like a problem that celebrities probably actually think about that as a big deal at all these award shows.
yes. There are people who think about their personal appearance. Not me.
Yeah. No, but like you go to an award show and people start clapping and you're like, when do we stop clapping?
Yes.
Like you have to really
Yeah.
like it's an actual problem.
Which
for them to
also
think
means
about.
that there's like a really funny opportunity there to go and just not stop clapping.
Yeah, just keep going.
Well,
'Cause
I think
I still reckon there'd be like a clap leader. You know, there's always someone that starts a clap.
not Blake though. Yeah, I mean, he'll start a clap alone. He'll keep clapping by himself. All right, should we kick this off?
Yep.
Yep.
Should I clap again?
You can if you want.
Nah, that's fine.
I think we're good. We got all my claps as well.
Yeah.
Just realized what you're talking about. All right, here we go.